Most people don't think about colon cancer when the symptoms first begin, because the signs often seem small. A little fatigue, occasional stomach discomfort, changes in bathroom habits, bloating, maybe some constipation, maybe diarrhea. Sometimes blood that people convince themselves is probably hemorrhoids. And that's what makes colon cancer so dangerous. In many cases, the body whispers long before it screams. But millions of people ignore those whispers because the symptoms feel too ordinary to be serious. Especially after 45 or 50, when many adults begin assuming discomfort is simply part of aging. Maybe my digestion is slowing down. Maybe it's stress. Maybe it's just something I ate. And sometimes it is. But sometimes, the body is trying to warn you about something far more important. Because colon cancer has become one of the most common cancers in the world, and while modern treatments continue improving, one truth remains incredibly powerful. Early detection can save lives. In fact, many cases become highly treatable when caught early enough. And that's why understanding the warning signs matters so deeply. Not to create fear, but to create awareness. Because one of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for severe pain before taking symptoms seriously. But colon cancer often develops slowly and quietly over years, which means the earliest clues may seem surprisingly subtle. And today, we're going to uncover the warning signs many people overlook, why they happen biologically, and the hidden risk factors that quietly increase vulnerability after midlife. Because once you understand how the body changes after 50, many things begin making more sense, including why digestive health becomes so important as we age. Now, before we go further, it's important to say this clearly. Having one of these symptoms does not automatically mean someone has colon cancer. Many digestive symptoms can come from less serious conditions, but persistent or unusual changes should never be ignored, especially when symptoms continue for weeks or begin changing your normal patterns. Because your body communicates through patterns, and when those patterns suddenly change, the body deserves attention. One of the earliest and most commonly overlooked warning signs is a persistent change in bowel habits. Now, everyone experiences occasional digestive changes, but what matters is ongoing change. Constipation that becomes unusual for you, diarrhea lasting longer than expected, stools becoming consistently narrower, a sudden change in frequency, feeling like the bowel never fully empties. These symptoms matter because colon tumours can sometimes interfere with normal movement through the digestive tract. And many people ignore these signs because they happen gradually, not dramatically. But the body notices small disruptions long before people emotionally accept that something may be wrong. And here's what makes this especially important after 50. Digestive function naturally changes with age. Movement often decreases, fiber intake drops, hydration becomes less consistent, medications may affect digestion, stress accumulates, muscle tone changes, which means people often normalize digestive discomfort instead of investigating it. But persistent changes deserve attention, especially if they feel different from your normal baseline. Now, another warning sign many people dismiss is blood in the stool. And this symptom creates a dangerous emotional reaction. People don't want to see it, so they explain it away. Probably hemorrhoids. Maybe something irritated my stomach. And yes, blood can come from less serious causes. But visible blood, or even dark, tar-like stools, should never be casually ignored, especially when it continues happening. Because bleeding inside the colon can occur from tumours or abnormal growths, and sometimes the bleeding is so slow, people never actually see it directly. Instead, they develop another hidden warning sign: fatigue. Not ordinary tiredness after a busy day, deep fatigue. The kind that feels strange, persistent, heavy. This can happen because slow internal bleeding may gradually reduce iron levels, leading to anemia. And anemia reduces oxygen delivery throughout the body, which means people may feel weak, short of breath, dizzy, exhausted, mentally foggy. And many adults over 50 assume this exhaustion is simply aging. But severe or unexplained fatigue deserves attention, especially when paired with digestive changes, because the body often reveals internal problems through energy changes first. Now, there's another warning sign people frequently overlook: unexplained weight loss. At first, some people actually feel pleased. The scale is finally moving. But when weight drops without meaningful changes in eating or activity, the body may be signaling something deeper. Cancer can alter metabolism, appetite, inflammation, and energy usage inside the body. And unexplained weight loss should always be taken seriously, especially alongside other symptoms. Because healthy aging rarely involves sudden, unexplained decline. The body does not simply fall apart overnight. Persistent, unusual changes deserve investigation. And perhaps one of the most misunderstood symptoms is abdominal discomfort. Many people expect colon cancer to cause severe pain immediately, but often the discomfort begins much more subtly. Cramping, pressure, gas, persistent bloating, a feeling of fullness, lower abdominal discomfort. And because digestive symptoms are so common in modern life, people normalize them for months or even years. But there's something emotionally important many people need to hear. Paying attention to your body is not overreacting. Ignoring persistent symptoms is not strength. Awareness saves lives. Now, let's talk about why colon cancer risk tends to rise with age. Because understanding the biology helps remove some of the fear and confusion surrounding the disease. Your colon is constantly renewing itself. Cells divide continuously. Tissues repair themselves constantly. The digestive system processes enormous amounts of material every single day. Over time, however, cellular damage can accumulate. Inflammation, poor diet, smoking, alcohol, obesity, insulin resistance, low physical activity, chronic inflammation, genetic factors. All of these may increase risk over decades. And this is why metabolic health matters far more than many people realize. Because the colon is deeply affected by inflammation and dietary patterns. Highly processed diets low in fiber may negatively affect the gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living inside the digestive system. And emerging research continues showing strong connections between gut health, inflammation, immunity, and disease risk. Now, this does not mean one unhealthy meal causes cancer. Disease usually develops through long-term biological patterns. And perhaps one of the strongest protective factors researchers continue studying is fiber. Fiber helps support bowel movement regularity, feeds beneficial gut bacteria, supports healthier digestion, may help reduce inflammation within the digestive tract. But many modern diets are severely lacking in fiber, especially diets dominated by ultra-processed foods. And here's something fascinating. Many older adults consume less fiber as they age because appetite changes, digestion changes, or eating habits become more limited. This is why simple foods like vegetables, beans, oats, fruit, nuts, seeds, whole grains become increasingly important for long-term digestive support. And movement matters too. Physical activity helps stimulate bowel function, improve insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, and support metabolic health overall. Not extreme workouts. Simple walking alone can be incredibly beneficial, especially after meals. Now, there's another hidden issue connected to colon health that many people never think about. Sitting for long periods. Modern life has become extremely sedentary. Hours in chairs, cars, couches, desks. And physical inactivity affects far more than weight alone. Movement influences circulation, inflammation, insulin sensitivity, digestion, and bowel regularity. The human body was designed to move, and when movement disappears for years, many systems begin functioning less efficiently. Now, one of the most powerful tools for early detection is screening, and this is where many lives are saved. Because colon cancer often begins as small growths called polyps that may develop over years before becoming cancerous. Screenings can sometimes detect and remove these growths early, before cancer even develops. That's why screening recommendations become so important after age 45 or 50. Especially if someone has family history, inflammatory bowel disease, obesity, smoking history, type 2 diabetes, or persistent symptoms. And here's the emotional truth many people struggle with. Fear causes avoidance. People fear hearing bad news, fear procedures, fear diagnosis. So they postpone testing. But early detection dramatically changes outcomes. That's the part people need to hear more often. Knowledge creates options. And perhaps the most encouraging truth about colon cancer awareness is this. Many warning signs appear before advanced disease develops. The body often sends signals early. The problem is that modern life teaches people to ignore discomfort until it becomes severe. Push through fatigue, ignore symptoms, stay busy. But your body deserves attention. Now, there's another symptom that can quietly appear with colon cancer. Loss of appetite. Food suddenly feels less appealing. People feel full quickly. Meals become smaller without trying. And again, many individuals blame stress or aging. But persistent appetite changes paired with fatigue or digestive symptoms deserve evaluation. Because cancer can influence inflammatory chemicals and appetite regulation inside the body. And here's something deeply important. Colon cancer is not only an old person's disease anymore. Doctors around the world have noticed rising rates among younger adults too, which means symptoms should never be ignored simply because someone feels too young for concern. Awareness matters at every age. Now, none of this means living in fear. Fear is not the goal. The goal is understanding. Understanding that the body communicates. Understanding that persistent changes matter. Understanding that prevention and early detection save lives. And perhaps one of the most powerful shifts people can make is moving from avoidance to awareness. Because awareness creates action. And action creates possibility. Now, let's talk about what supports long-term colon health overall. Consistent movement, fiber-rich foods, hydration, adequate sleep, reduced smoking and alcohol exposure, healthy body composition, stable blood sugar, lower chronic inflammation. Notice something important here. These same habits support nearly every major system in the body. Heart health, brain health, metabolism, energy, muscle preservation, digestive health. The body functions as one connected system, and this is why small daily habits matter far more than dramatic short-term efforts. A walk after dinner matters, more vegetables matter, better sleep matters, managing stress matters, routine screenings matter. Small, repeated actions shape long-term biology. And if there's one message every person watching this needs to hear, it's this. Do not ignore persistent changes in your body. Not because you should panic, but because your health matters too much to delay awareness. The body often whispers before serious illness becomes obvious. And sometimes, listening early changes everything. So if you've noticed changes in bowel habits, blood in the stool, persistent fatigue, unexplained weight loss, abdominal discomfort, or unusual digestive changes that continue over time, please don't simply hope they disappear forever. Talk to a healthcare professional, ask questions, get screened when appropriate. Because early detection is not fear, it's protection. And perhaps the deeper truth hidden inside this conversation is something many adults need emotionally. Taking your health seriously is not weakness, it's self-respect. Your body has carried you through decades of stress, responsibility, sacrifice, and survival. It deserves attention when it asks for help. And in our next documentary, we're going to uncover another hidden health issue millions of adults unknowingly ignore every single day. The subtle warning signs of insulin resistance, a condition that often begins silently years before diabetes develops. Because long before blood sugar becomes dangerously high, the body usually starts sending quiet signals first.